Hello friend, welcome back to my channel. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. It's Tim here, and in this video, I'll be guiding you through the steps to create this nighttime forest inspired landscape painting. We'll be covering a lot of fun painting topics in this painting, so I'm super excited to begin. Upcoming here are the hex codes for the color palette, which are also in the YouTube description box below. Here are the palettes in expanded and compact palette view. And if you need help on how to insert hex codes into a color palette, I do have a video up on my channel on how to do this, so definitely go check it out if you need it. Here are the main brushes used, and I do also have a video on my channel on how to create a version of the damp brush from scratch, so if you need it, definitely go check it out. The first step of our tutorial is to take a screenshot of our trace outline layer here and insert it into a blank square size canvas on Procreate. You're going to turn the opacity down and fit the corners to the edges of the canvas, just like this. You're then going to insert a new layer over the top, and I would recommend using the technical pen with the color black with full size and full opacity, and then you're going to trace over top of it to create a guide for your painting. Please feel free to take any breaks that you might need along the way, and when you're ready, let's begin. Alright, so to begin, let's go ahead and turn our trace outline layer down. I'm going to turn it down to around 18%. Let's go ahead and add a new layer, and we're going to put that layer underneath the trace outline layer. Let's go ahead and switch over to the paintbrush now, and we're going to use the soft brush. Let's use around 14% brush size with full opacity. Let's go ahead and grab the third color in the first row, and starting right around here, right under the middle of the painting, we're going to create a straight line across, just like that. Let's grab the fourth color in the first row, and we're going to repeat that same step, painting a line of color on top of the last one here, just like that. Let's repeat that same step with the fifth color in the first row, just like that. And then with the sixth color in the first row, let's grab the first color in the second row, and we're going to fill in this last little stripe of color there, just like that. And actually, let's grab the second color in the second row, and just very lightly across the top here, let's paint a little stripe of color, just like that, almost kind of halving the stripe of color from before. And then with this color, we're going to go ahead and just fill in this bottom section here, just filling in the rest of that white. Now using Gaussian blur, let's go ahead and blur this layer to around 58%. Let's go ahead and create a duplicate of this layer. And I'm going to go ahead and turn our canvas just a little bit here, and we're going to add some texture. Let's go ahead and use the blending tool now with the damp brush. Let's do like 21% brush size, 34% or so opacity, and going sideways, horizontally across the entire painting, just back and forth, using nice soft scrubbing paint strokes. We're going to create just a little bit of texture in the sky area here, just like that. We're going to go back the opposite direction here. Kind of just create some nice texture. That way it's not as flat. So let's go ahead and turn this back upright. Let's go ahead and turn this layer's opacity down. Let's turn it down to around 70%. And let's merge those two layers together. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. We're going to zoom up here. And now we're going to paint the moon. Let's go ahead and grab the paintbrush now with the technical pen. Full size and full opacity. And let's grab the first color in the first row. And we're going to paint a circle following our outline here, just like that. Then you're going to hold it down and tap the screen, which will create a perfect circle. Now using color drop, Let's go ahead and fill the circle in. Let's go ahead and switch over to the eraser tool now with the technical pen. Full size and full opacity. And we're going to repeat that same step following our outline here, just erasing this in the shape of a circle there. Then you're going to hold it down and tap the screen, which creates a perfect circle, which creates the coolest little crescent moon for our painting. Now we're going to erase what's left here, just like that. Let's go ahead and zoom back here. Let's go ahead and add a new layer. We're going to put that layer into soft light. Let's go ahead and grab the paintbrush now with the damp brush. Let's do like 14% brush size with 84% opacity. And let's grab the second color in the first row. And we're going to turn our canvas just a little bit so it's kind of horizontal. And from about right here to right here, using up and down zigzag paint strokes, we're going to add just a little bit of color to the entire sky area here, just like that. Now using Gaussian blur, we're going to blur this just a little bit. Let's blur it to around 19%. Let's go ahead and grab the blending tool now with the damp brush. Around 15% brush size, around 34% opacity. And using the same zigzag paint strokes again, we're going to lightly just buff and blend that out, which will help exaggerate the effect just a little bit more and add a little bit more dimension to the sky. Kind of creates a really fun Aurora Borealis-like effect over the sky here. So let's go ahead and zoom up here. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. And now we're going to paint the mountains. Let's grab the paintbrush now with the technical pen. And we're going to zoom up here. Let's grab the second color in the second row. And I'm going to turn off the color palette for a moment here and zoom back just a little bit. Using full size and full opacity. And starting here on this left-hand side, we're just going to trace over our outline here, just like that. Ending on that right-hand side. And using color drop, let's go ahead and fill it in, just like that. Let's go ahead and add a new layer and put that layer into soft light. Let's go ahead and grab the paintbrush now with the soft brush. Let's do like 12% brush size with full opacity. And grabbing the second color in the first row, we're going to start with one stripe of color here across the bottom from left to right. And then we're going to paint a second stripe of color right on top of that here. Now using Gaussian blur, we're going to blur this layer. Let's blur it to around 58%. Let's go ahead and turn this layer down just a little bit. Let's turn it down to around 83%. And now we're going to merge all of our layers together. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. And we're going to grab the paintbrush again with the soft brush. Let's up the brush size to like 16%. Let's do full opacity. And let's grab the sixth color in the second row. And starting from right here, painting from left to right again, let's paint a stripe of color. Now let's use Gaussian blur and blur that layer to around 54%. All right, so to go ahead and paint the base of our tree, let's go ahead and add a new layer. And we're actually going to use the third color in the first row, and we're going to color drop this over the entire screen so it's easier to see. Let's go ahead and turn our canvas into drawing guide, and then edit drawing guide, and put it into symmetry. You're going to hit the check mark here. And we're going to zoom up here. Let's go ahead and add a new layer. And we're going to put this layer into drawing assist. So right there. And this will mirror everything we do on both sides. And we're going to use kind of a curved, slightly sideways paint stroke that looks like a sideways C. And we're going to go ahead and use the paintbrush now with the water pen. And let's go ahead and grab the third color in the second row. And starting right here, we're going to paint a line down here, just like that. And let's use around 5% brush size and full opacity. And I'm going to show you the pattern we're going to be using here. So we're going to kind of use sideways paint strokes that slightly fan out and get slightly wider as we get closer to the bottom here, just like that. So I'm going to get rid of that here. And we're going to do this on the tree. So starting right there, we're going to just keep adding these slightly sideways paint strokes. And just keep repeating that same pattern as we go down. Just like that. Just kind of filling that in, not making sure nothing's too perfect. When we reach the bottom here, I'm going to zoom back up here. We're actually going to turn on adjustments and use liquify. And let's use the push tool and let's do around 37% brush size, 37% pressure, 19 distortion is good, and momentum 18% is fine. And I'm going to turn drawing assist off now. And we're going to just slightly move in the corners of this just to create a nice pine tree shape. Just like that. And actually, if you want, let's flip it just to make sure it's looking good. Actually, there's nothing really here to change, so I like the shape of this, so let's go ahead and flip the canvas back. We're going to go ahead and turn our drawing guide off. And let's turn the white layer off. All right, so let's go ahead and create a duplicate of this layer here. And we're actually going to turn the first one off just so we have it in the background here, but it's not taking up space. So let's go ahead and move this one down here. And actually, we're going to shrink this one just a little bit. So using the lasso tool, we're going to shrink the side, and then let's make it a little less tall. Let's place that one there. Let's create another duplicate. And put that one about right here. Moving onwards, we're going to create another duplicate. And let's flip this one just a little bit. And we're going to put this one here. Actually, let's make this one a little taller. Just like that. Let's create another duplicate here. And we're going to put this one right there. We're coming over here. Let's create another duplicate. And let's flip this one. Place it right around there. Actually, let's make this one a little bit taller than the mountain there, just like that. And then we're going to come up here and create another duplicate and place that one right around there. And I'm going to zoom back just to see how it looks. Let's make this one a little bit longer, a little bit wider there. But now we have our background trees. So let's go ahead and merge those layers together, but be careful not to merge it onto the original. Now using hue and saturation, let's turn the brightness down just a little bit. Let's go to like 49% and then turn the saturation down. Let's go down to like 49%. We're going to create another duplicate of that original tree layer here and bring it down here. And actually, before we move it over to the side, let's use hue and saturation and turn it down. Let's turn it down to like 45%, and then let's turn the saturation down to around 41%. And let's create a duplicate of that one as well. So grabbing one of the duplicate layers here, I grab the top one. We're going to move this into place. So using the lasso tool, we're going to make this one a little bit taller. Let's make it a little bit wider. Right about there. Zooming up here, let's go ahead and create another duplicate off that original tree layer here. And actually, let's make one of them, let's turn the layer off, that way we can see it. That way we can see the one we're working with a little better. So grabbing the duplicate layer, let's place this one here. And actually, I'm going to make this one a little bit thinner, a little bit taller. About right there. Let's go ahead and move down just a little bit. Let's create a duplicate of that one here. And let's flip it horizontally. It looks good. Let's go ahead and create another duplicate. And move on to this one here. And we're going to make it a little bit taller, and let's put it a little bit wider. Let's make it a little bit wider. I'm going to move that into place. It's looking good. Let's go ahead and create another duplicate and put that one right around here. Let's flip it horizontally and make it a little bit taller, a little bit longer, and then a little bit wider. Right about there. And then finishing off, let's create the last duplicate here and move it over to the side. Make it a little bit taller, a little bit wider here. And actually, let's make this one just a smidge darker. So using hue and saturation again, let's just turn the brightness down just a little bit. Let's go to like 48% and then the saturation down to like 46%. When you're happy with your trees, let's go ahead and merge those new tree layers together here, just like that. And I wanted to take a quick moment to thank you so much for supporting my channel, friend. I hope you're having fun painting. And if you're enjoying this video so far, let me know below. And I invite you to leave me your favorite colored heart and space emoji in the comments. All right, so let's go ahead and add a new layer. And grabbing the paintbrush now with the soft brush, let's do like 9% brush size with full opacity. And let's grab the 5th color in the 2nd row. Let's paint one stripe of color from left to right here along the bottom. Let's go ahead and paint a 2nd stripe of color there from left to right along the bottom. Let's go ahead and grab the 6th color in the 1st row. And let's paint a 3rd stripe of color across the top there, just like that, which will give you something that looks like that. So let's use Gaussian blur and blur that layer to around 44%. We're going to go ahead and turn that layer down just a little bit. Let's turn it down to like 46%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. And still using the soft brush with the paintbrush, let's do like 10% brush size with full opacity. And let's grab the 5th color in the 2nd row again. Starting from left to right here, we're going to paint a stripe across the bottom there. Now using Gaussian blur, going to blur that layer to around 54%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer, and now we're going to paint the bushes. So let's come down here. Let's grab the paintbrush now with the damp brush. Let's do 10% brush size and full opacity. And let's grab the 2nd color in the 2nd row. And using circular scrubbing paint strokes like this, we're going to start painting our bushes. We're going to come over here. And we're going to repeat that for this bush here. Let's add a little bit of color here. A little bit of color down here for this bush down there. Let's go ahead and use hue and saturation and turn that down to like 45%, and let's turn the saturation down to around 41%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. And coming up here, let's go ahead and, still using the paintbrush with the damp brush, let's go down to like 6% brush size, still full opacity. And using the same color just along this top edge, using circular scrubbing paint strokes again, we're going to add some highlight to these bushes. And we're going to repeat this step across all bushes here. Just like that. We're going to zoom back here. I'm going to go ahead and use hue and saturation again, and we're going to turn the brightness down. about 47%, and let's turn the saturation down to around 42%. I'm going to go ahead and turn our trace outline layer off. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think there needs to be a little bit of color right there. Yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead and create a copy canvas layer and paste it over the top. Let's go ahead and zoom up here. Let's grab the blending tool now with the damp brush. Let's do like 7% brush size and around 47% or so opacity. Using the same circular scrubbing paint strokes, we're gonna just lightly buff and blend these out. And we're being really careful about not blending all of the dark edge space away. So like this space in there, we don't wanna completely blend that out. And I am blending in rows from left to right here, kind of dragging the upper color down and the down color up, if that makes sense. Just kind of softening that up. We're going to repeat that on this bush here, kind of allowing that dark space still to exist. That negative space. It's you know, the highlights are one thing, but it's actually sometimes the negative space that's the most important. I'm just going in there and just kind of softening anything that looks harsh. Just like that. Let's go ahead over here and we're going to repeat that same step. Just working our way up. And I'm using really light hand pressure and just a circular scrubbing paint stroke. And right around here, I'm going to be real careful not to completely blend away the darkness. We're going to repeat that on this bush here. We're just going to blend and soften that up. And then let's finish off down here, allowing just a little bit of that dark color around the edges. Just like that. Now let's paint the stars. So let's come up here. Let's go ahead and add a new layer. And we're going to use the paintbrush now with the technical pen. And we're going to use the first color in the second row. Let's do like 64% brush size, full opacity. I'm going to turn that off here. And starting on this left-hand side, working in rows, we're going to start painting small clusters of dots across our sky. Adding as little or as many as you'd like. Coming back over here, repeating that step across. And then this last row here, being careful not to overlap the moon. Just creating some nice background stars for our painting. Finishing off here on this right-hand side. Let's go back and zoom up here. Let's go ahead and create a duplicate of this layer. On this duplicate layer, let's go ahead and grab Gaussian blur and blur that layer to around 11%. We're going to merge those two layers together. Let's create a duplicate of the merged layers and use Gaussian blur again. Blur that to around 13%. Let's merge these two layers together. Then we're going to turn this layer's opacity down. Let's turn it down to around 36%. All right, so let's go ahead and add another new layer. And now we're going to paint some detail stars. So let's go ahead and grab the light pen now with the paintbrush. Let's do like 18% brush size with full opacity. And starting up here on this left-hand side again, we're going to work our way in rows again. but we're just going to be very sparing about these new stars. And I am kind of varying my hand pressure too. I'm doing lighter hand pressure and then heavier ones. And then the heavier ones will be slightly larger. So you get a really cool variegation with this brush. It's one of my absolute favorite brushes to use for a lot of different things actually, but it really shines when it comes to painting stars. Just making little random clusters across the sky, making as little or as many as you'd like. We're going to come over here and do one more row. I'm going to bring just a couple down there too, and I'm going to be very light-handed about the ones that are down towards the bottom. That way they're not too overpowering. Being careful not to cross over the moon, and then working our way over. Finishing up here on this right-hand side. I'm going to zoom back here, just kind of bringing that down just a little bit. Let's zoom back up. Yeah, let's go ahead and create a duplicate of this layer. And we're going to use Gaussian blur on this duplicate layer. Let's blur that to around 12%. Actually, I almost like them at full power. What do you guys think? Yeah, I kind of like them nice and bright. Let's create another copy canvas layer. So using copy canvas, we're going to paste that over the top. Now, zooming up here, we're going to switch over to the blending tool now again with the water pen. Let's do like 4% brush size and like 64% or so opacity. And just very lightly, we're going to add just a couple of detail paint strokes to each of our background trees. Just to kind of break it up a little bit, kind of make each one nice and unique. Let's go ahead and move on to this one. Kind of just shakes it up a little bit, makes it not look as copy and paste. We're going to repeat this for each one of our trees. Adding as little or as many little details as you like. I love painting forests. I hope you guys are enjoying the video and the tutorial. Please let me know below. I've had a lot of fun painting with you today. The more little details I feel like you add that just kind of differentiate the tree, I think the better. Kind of makes it look a little more organic. Over here and repeating that for these, almost to the end of our trees. Ooh, let's add just a little bit up there. Let's add just a couple to this back one. Adding some nice happy trees in there. Then finishing up over here on this left-hand side. Just kind of seeing how everything looks together. When you're happy with your trees, we're going to add just a little bit of shadow and highlight. Let's go ahead and add another new layer and put that layer into soft light. Let's grab the paintbrush now with the soft brush, and let's do the 6th color in the 2nd row. Starting right here on this left-hand side, working our way from top to bottom on this left side edge, and then on this left side edge from left to right, and then from right here from the top to bottom on the right-hand side, and then from the left side to the right-hand side there, just like that. Let's go ahead and soften each corner up here, just like this. Now let's use Gaussian blur and blur that layer to around 43%. And then we're going to turn this layer way down. Let's turn it down to around 45%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer and put that layer into soft light again. And we're going to repeat the same step again, but we're going to make the size of the stripe just a little bit thinner. So from top to bottom on the left side, from left to right on the bottom, and then from top to bottom on the right-hand side, and then across the top. About half the size as they were before. Then let's go ahead and round off the corners. And then using Gaussian blur, let's go ahead and blur that layer to around 35%. We're going to go ahead and turn this layer down just a little bit. Let's turn it down to around 54%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. And we're going to repeat the same step, only this step is going to be in normal mode. Using the same color, we're going to create a really thin stripe on the left side, the bottom, and then the right-hand side. Let's go ahead and put it along the top as well. Now using Gaussian blur, let's blur that layer to around 25%. We're going to turn this layer's opacity down. Let's turn it down to around 56%. We're going to go ahead and add another new layer and put that layer into overlay. Let's go ahead and grab the first color in the first row. And we're going to paint a circle over top of the moon here, just like this. Now let's use Gaussian blur and blur that layer to around 48%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer and put that layer into overlay. Still using the first color in the first row. We're going to paint a stripe of color across the middle here, just like this. And then let's start right around here, and we're going to paint a stripe of color right around there. So it's going to leave a little space in between and then a little space at the bottom there. Now using Gaussian blur, let's blur that layer to around 39%. Then we're going to turn this layer's opacity way down. Let's turn it down to around 28%. Let's go ahead and create another copy canvas layer and paste it over the top. We're going to come down here. Let's go ahead and grab the water pen with the paintbrush. And let's shrink our brush size down to around 3% with full opacity. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. And let's grab the third color in the second row. And we're going to add just a couple of flicking paint strokes to create the illusion of some taller grass strokes along the edge. Just like that. Now let's use hue and saturation. Let's go ahead and turn the brightness down to around 48%, and let's turn the saturation down to like 34%. Then we're going to use the opacity tool, and let's turn down the opacity to around 61%. Let's go ahead and add a new layer. We're going to put this layer into soft light. Let's grab the paintbrush now with the soft brush. Let's do like 25% brush size with full opacity. Let's grab the 6th color in the 2nd row. And we're going to go ahead and paint another stripe of color across the top. Just like that. So it'll be a pretty bold stripe of color. And then we're going to use Gaussian blur. And blur that to around 80%. And then we're going to turn this layer down just a little bit. Let's turn it down to like 78%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. We're going to put that layer into overlay. Let's grab the 1st color in the 1st row. We're going to paint a small circle of color here in the center of the painting, just like that. Now let's use Gaussian blur. And we're going to blur that layer to around 52%. And then we're going to turn this layer way down. Let's turn it down to like around 40% or so. Let's go ahead and add a new layer. And using the paintbrush with the light pen, let's do like 5% brush size. Like 90% or so opacity. Let's go ahead and use the 1st color in the 2nd row. And starting from the bottom to the top, we're going to paint a quick flick of color just like this. And I'm kind of lessening my hand pressure as it gets to the middle to the end. That way it kind of tapers a little bit better towards the end. When you're happy with your shooting star, let's go ahead and create a duplicate layer. And on the bottom duplicate, let's go ahead and use Gaussian blur. Blur that layer to around 12%. And we're going to go back up to the top layer. We're going to lower the opacity just a little bit. Let's go to like 80%. We're going to go ahead and turn our trace outline layer off. Let's go ahead and create a copy canvas layer and paste it over the top. There's a texture issue that's kind of bothering me, and it's these holes in these trees. So let's go ahead and grab the blending tool with the soft airbrush. Let's do like 18% brush size, like 50% or so opacity. And we're going to just lightly buff those little spaces out of the painting. Just buff those spaces out of the painting a little bit. Just kind of helps soften it up just a smidge. Not getting rid of all of them, but from where we copied and pasted, my eye is catching that and is like, let's get rid of that. Working our way over here. Not really getting rid of all of them, just kind of smoothing over anything that looks funky. And it was just my eye catching that little thing, and I'm like, oh, that needs to be fixed. Then finishing up over here. All right, so let's go ahead and add just a little bit more color. I feel like we lost a little bit of the pink. Let's add a new layer and put it into soft light. And let's grab the 5th color in the 1st row. Using the paintbrush again with the soft brush. Let's do like 11% brush size with full opacity. And starting right around here, we're going to squiggle just a little bit of this pinky color right across the sky. Then using Gaussian blur, let's blur this to around 42%. And then we're going to turn it down just a little bit. Let's turn it down to around 70%. Let's go ahead and add another new layer. Put that layer into soft light. Let's go ahead and grab the 6th color in the second row. And we're going to paint starting from left to right again here. Across the bottom. And then on this right-hand side. And then one more stripe across the top. I'm going to just round off the corners. Let's use Gaussian blur. And blur that layer to around 30%. And let's turn that layer down to around 35%. And we're done. Now let's sign our painting. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel. I hope you had fun painting today. And if you want to continue painting, I have a ton of other tutorials up on my channel to discover. So definitely go check those out. And if you like this video and want to see more content like this, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. Please take care of yourself, friend. And until next time, happy painting.